I'm just going to share a little bit of roughly what happens from the start to finish of when a client does reach out, or I make a connection point with a client in terms of how to find out what their needs are, and then planning and then setting everything up till shoot, and then post-production, and then delivering the final video. So what that looks like usually is, always ask questions. I think a lot of people, including myself initially, I was so desperate to secure a client that I would try and just meet and guess and try and tell the client what they needed before actually listening to what they actually need. So make sure, number one, you listen to what their needs are. Sometimes it's so simple, and then you're trying to overpromise this thing, and you want to create such a big production when their actual need is, hey, we just want an interview video. And then so you don't want to be that person that ends up trying to overpromise something that they're not even asking for, right? So first of all, always listen and try and understand what your client's needs are, because at the end of the day, that's what your job is in terms of business. When someone comes to you, they're going to be asking, hey, we have this need. We saw what you can do. Can you help us fulfill this need? So once you've understood what the shoot requirement is, say in this case as an example, hey, we just want corporate interviews for our business. We have certain staff that we want to interview so that we can share with the world what their different roles are, and then we can also use that on our social media platforms to then reach out and connect with others in that same way. Because other companies are doing the same thing. They know the value of social media, they know the value of internet, and they want to be able to connect with others, and then this is where your job comes in. So there's no point going in with the understanding of they need an interview video, and then you're trying to go, hey, but we want to create like this super cool commercial for you and this, that, whatever. That's great. Maybe that's a different conversation that you can have after you address their need. But otherwise, focus on what their need is. If it's something you can do, then you can start the planning process. The planning process then comes to a place where if it's a simple setup, what your gear is, how many hours it's going to take to shoot, and then for me it's always just identifying the balance of how much are your editing costs, how much are your shooting costs, your time. Distribution is something that gets overlooked a lot, but that's also something that you should also take into account. And then the next step would be to make a plan. So say it's 3 different interview subjects that you are to interview. Your job will then to be identifying what is the content of the interview, what questions are prepared for it. Are you the one who's going to be responsible for the questions, or are your clients going to be? And then you can map out how long you believe each interview would take. And usually with corporate interviews, especially if they're higher up positions, they don't often have a lot of time. So you have to also think of, as part of your setup, how to set up in the most efficient way so that you're not wasting people's time. And then after that, obviously you do the shoot, you come back, you're going to have a period of organizing all your footage and then getting it ready for editing. Once you're in the editing, there's that period for me usually. I always say that I'm going to take longer than what I know I need because stuff always comes up. A lot of people say, sure, no problem, I can give it to you tomorrow. That's just the worst idea because you set yourself up for failure by overpromising, and you got to make sure that you deliver, and you can't if you're not sleeping sometimes. There are amazing wedding videography companies that I have so much respect for that do same-day edits. Those people are able to function because they built a system of 2 or 3 other people that they work regularly with so that they can come up with one person does the shooting, one person does the editing, and then that's their focus. They're handing cards over. They have a rough template of what a wedding video looks like, and then they're able to deliver of a quality that a wedding couple might be very happy with. I'm not a wedding videographer, so that's something that I don't have to worry about, which is just my personal preference. And then after that, you usually have at least 3 to 4 rounds of back and forth with your client so that they can give you feedback as to what needs to change and what needs to improve. Don't take any feedback personally. It's not a reflection of who you are. It's not a reflection of your your abilities and they're not attacking you personally. Clients have specific needs that they need to be met for their company. So your job is to just be respectfully receiving the feedback and do your best to meet their need. And then after that, hopefully 3 to 4 feedbacks later, everyone's on the same page. You're very, very happy with the video. You deliver it and you wish them well. And you always follow up with asking for referrals and also just to make sure that if there's anything else that you can do to help, it may not even be video related, always keep that relationship polite, respectful, and have the heart to serve. Always give the person the benefit of the doubt that they aren't trying to get more from you than what they're paying for. Always offer more than what they're paying for, and then at the end of the day, you'll just feel better anyway. Okay, so what challenges might you face when starting up in a video or photography or design business? I think the one thing that I would say is schools don't actually teach you how to start a business. Like, schools aren't set up in a way to help you embrace certain ideas or passions that you have to be excited about and make that work for you in terms of a living. That's actually something that you have to focus on and learn as you go. That's definitely something that I did. For me, the challenges were, how do you gain experience when you don't have experience? So a lot of companies, when you're starting, especially with production companies, they're always looking for someone who's experienced enough to help them. But if you don't have the experience, you can't help them. And so you're in this weird lose-lose situation. So for me, I would say one of the ways I overcome that challenge is to actually just go out and start shooting, to go out and offer my services for free to different companies. And for me, it was just such an amazing feeling the first time that a company decided that they thought my work was good enough that they would want to pay me for it. And so for me, that became motivation to continue learning, to continue growing, and continue to make at least the next video better than my last. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be easy. I think that's the other thing. A lot of people think, okay, cool, anyone can be an entrepreneur. Yes, that's true. I don't even think I'm an entrepreneur. I just think I have the tendencies to be someone who's building on their own business. But I would say it's just a matter of learning as you go and persevering and asking, like, not being afraid to ask questions about things that you don't know. You don't have to, I hear this term a lot, you gotta fake it till you make it. But I think I heard that it said by this guy called Chris Do on The Future, and he talks about believe it until you achieve it. So for you, you have to set a focus on what you're trying to achieve, and only go into it if it's something that you really, really love. You might actually start and find out that you hate it. And that's also okay. It's also okay to not build your own business. It's okay to go work for other people. It's okay to then learn and then go in one direction and then stop and then change direction. Because that's just going to be part of life and that's going to happen all the time. So for you, I would just say really, really learn and try. And try different things. You might find that you actually like photography more than video. Or you might like drawing more than, I don't know, just graphic design. Whatever it is, I think try different things and then eventually you'll find one that hits. That's what happened for me. I was working for a family portraits company. We specialize in shooting portraits for families. And we were just doing the same thing over and over and over. And on paper, it was a dream job. I got to work with an awesome team. I loved everyone that we got to work with. I got to meet a lot of different people through that. But eventually it became this weird routine where I was just doing the same thing from Monday to Sunday. And then it's back to Monday. And then I had realized that I had no more life. And for me, I think more than money at the time I valued so much was time with the people that was important to me. So for me, I had to then adjust the things in my business where instead of the goal being, yes, it has to be able to sustain me, but that timeline might be not in 2 years. I used to think my business has to be successful by the end of the year. It's got to be earning money. It's got to be earning profit. And I got to be like able to just do this, and then I can quit my job and yay. But the reality is it's not going to be like that. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of mistakes, and mistakes are a good thing. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are the first step to learning what is the right thing to do. So don't be afraid of that, but I think use that. Make sure you don't make a mistake and then continue making that same mistake. Yeah, and I would say in that sense, just be open to trying new things. Okay, so working culture of the company is do what you can, the best that you can.